Structure and content of The Secret History. The Secret History consists of 30 chapters, covering a range of topics related to Justinian's reign, his wife Theodora, and the general Belisarius and his wife Antonina. The work is characterized by its vitriolic tone, personal attacks, and an almost obsessive focus on the moral shortcomings of the individuals described. Justinian and Theodora. The first part of The Secret History focuses heavily on Justinian and Theodora, whom Procopius depicts as deeply flawed individuals. Justinian is portrayed as a tyrant who is both incompetent and malicious. Procopius accuses him of being responsible for numerous disasters, including the destruction of cities and the deaths of countless citizens. He describes Justinian as having a demonic nature, even going so far as to suggest that Justinian was a demon in human form, citing rumors that the emperor's face would sometimes disappear or that he would wander the palace at night without his head. Theodora, a former actress and prostitute according to Procopius, is described as cruel, manipulative, and sexually immoral. Procopius provides lurid details about her early life, describing her as having no shame or restraint. In his account, Theodora is a controlling figure in the court, using her influence over Justinian to punish her enemies and enrich herself and her family. Procopius claims that she took pleasure in the suffering of others and that her policies contributed to the downfall of several prominent figures. Belisarius and Antonina. The Secret History also includes extensive sections on Belisarius, Justinian's most successful general, and his wife Antonina. While Procopius had praised Belisarius in his earlier works, The Secret History portrays him as weak and easily manipulated by Antonina. According to Procopius, Antonina was a scheming and adulterous woman who controlled Belisarius and used him to further her own ambitions. Belisarius is depicted as a tragic figure who is loyal to Justinian but ultimately undone by his own lack of judgment and his wife's machinations. Themes and analysis. The Secret History can be analyzed through several key themes, each of which sheds light on the political and social dynamics of the Byzantine Empire during Justinian's reign. Tyranny and corruption. One of the most prominent themes of The Secret History is the portrayal of Justinian's regime as tyrannical and corrupt. Procopius emphasizes the emperor's greed and his disregard for the welfare of his subjects. He accuses Justinian of enriching himself at the expense of the empire, seizing property, and imposing heavy taxes that led to widespread poverty. Procopius also highlights the arbitrary nature of Justinian's rule, suggesting that the emperor punished his enemies without due process and surrounded himself with corrupt officials who furthered his tyrannical policies. The theme of tyranny is also reflected in Procopius' depiction of Theodora, whom he describes as equally ruthless. Theodora is portrayed as a puppet master who used her position to control Justinian and carry out her own vindictive schemes. The Secret History suggests that the combination of Justinian's incompetence and Theodora's cruelty resulted in a reign of terror that affected all levels of Byzantine society, morality and immorality. The Secret History is preoccupied with the moral failings of the individuals it describes, particularly Justinian and Theodora. Procopius' account of Theodora's early life is filled with sensational details about her sexual exploits, which he presents as evidence of her unfitness to rule. Justinian is similarly depicted as lacking any sense of morality, with Procopius accusing him of hypocrisy, cruelty, and an almost supernatural malevolence. These depictions reflect Procopius' broader concern with the decline of moral standards in Byzantine society. He suggests that the corruption and immorality of the imperial court had a corrosive effect on the entire empire, leading to social decay and the erosion of traditional values. Procopius presents himself as a moralist, lamenting the decline of virtues such as honor, loyalty, and justice in the face of the unchecked power of Justinian and his circle. Political intrigue. The Secret History is filled with accounts of political intrigue, much of it centered on the Byzantine court. Procopius describes a world in which personal vendettas, secret alliances, and behind-the-scenes manipulation determine the course of events. Theodora, in particular, is depicted as a master of political intrigue, using her influence over Justinian to eliminate rivals and advance her own interests. Procopius also accuses Antonina of engaging in political machinations, using her relationship with Belisarius to gain power and wealth. The theme of political intrigue reflects the complex and often dangerous nature of life in the Byzantine court. Procopius suggests that the court was a place where loyalty was fleeting, and alliances could shift quickly. The constant threat of betrayal and the ever-present danger of falling out of favor with the emperor or empress created a climate of fear and suspicion that pervaded the entire imperial administration. The role of fate and fortune. Throughout The Secret History, Procopius frequently attributes the successes and failures of individuals to the whims of fate or fortune. This reflects a common theme in ancient historiography, where historians often emphasize the role of chance or divine will in shaping human events. In Procopius' view, Many of the disasters that befell the Byzantine Empire during Justinian's reign were the result of bad fortune, as much as they were the result of human failings. This theme also underscores Procopius' sense of fatalism regarding the future of the empire. He suggests that the moral and political decay he observed was beyond the control of any individual and that the empire was doomed to decline regardless of the efforts of its leaders. This pessimistic view is reinforced by Procopius' descriptions of Justinian and Theodora as almost supernatural agents of destruction, whose reign was a manifestation of the empire's inevitable decline. Procopius' motivations and the secret history's reliability. One of the central questions surrounding the secret history is why Procopius wrote it and whether it can be trusted as a reliable source of information about Justinian's reign. As noted earlier, Procopius had previously written more favorable accounts of Justinian and his regime, leading some historians to speculate about the reasons for the stark change in tone. Possible motivations. Several theories have been proposed to explain Procopius' motivations for writing the secret history. One theory is that Procopius, disillusioned by his experiences in the Byzantine court, wrote the secret history as a way of venting his personal frustrations and disappointments. His privileged position as a member of the elite and as an official historian gave him access to information and experiences that might have soured his view of Justinian and his circle over time. Another theory is that Procopius may have written the secret history in response to shifting political circumstances. As Justinian's reign progressed, his policies, particularly his heavy taxation, religious intolerance, and legal reforms, became increasingly unpopular among certain segments of Byzantine society, especially the elite. Procopius may have written the secret history to align himself with these disaffected groups, either to protect his own position or to curry favor with potential rivals of Justinian, such as members of the Senate or the aristocracy who resented the emperor's centralization of power. There is also the possibility that the secret history was written as a form of literary revenge. Procopius' personal attacks on figures like Theodora and Antonina may reflect his frustration with their dominance in the court and their influence over Justinian. In this view, the secret history serves as a counter-narrative to the official histories and panegyrics of the time, exposing what Procopius saw as the ugly truth behind the carefully constructed image of Justinian's regime. Reliability of the secret history. The reliability of the secret history has been the subject of debate among historians for centuries. On the one hand, Procopius was an eyewitness to many of the events he describes, and his accounts of Justinian's campaigns and policies are often detailed and specific. On the other hand, the secret history is filled with sensational claims, rumors, and personal attacks that cast doubt on its objectivity. One of the main criticisms of the secret history is that it is highly biased. Procopius clearly had a personal vendetta against Justinian, Theodora, and other members of the court, and his descriptions of their behavior are often exaggerated and unsubstantiated. For example, his claim that Justinian was a literal demon in human form or that Theodora engaged in bizarre sexual acts are clearly meant to discredit these figures in the most extreme terms possible. These sensational elements suggest that Procopius was not writing as an impartial historian but as someone with a deep personal grudge against the subjects of his work. However, this does not mean that the secret history should be dismissed entirely. Despite its bias, the work provides valuable insights into the inner workings of the Byzantine court and the personalities of its key figures. While many of Procopius' accusations are likely exaggerated, they may still contain kernels of truth. For example, his portrayal of Theodora as a powerful and influential figure is supported by other contemporary sources, and his criticism of Justinian's heavy-handed taxation and legal reforms is consistent with other accounts of the emperor's reign. In sum, while the secret history should be approached with caution, it remains a valuable source for understanding the complexities of Justinian's reign. By comparing Procopius' account with other contemporary sources, historians can gain a more nuanced view of the Byzantine Empire during this period. The secret history and later historiography. The secret history has had a lasting impact on the historiography of Justinian's reign and the Byzantine Empire more broadly. For many centuries, it was the most widely known and cited work on Justinian, and its sensationalist portrayal of the emperor and his court shaped the way later generations viewed this period of Byzantine history. During the Middle Ages, the secret history was largely unknown in Western Europe, but it was rediscovered in the Renaissance and quickly became a popular source for historians. Its scandalous content, particularly the depictions of Justinian and Theodora, captured the imaginations of readers and contributed to a more negative view of Byzantine civilization. In the Enlightenment, historians like Edward Gibbon drew heavily on the secret history in their critiques of the Byzantine Empire, using Procopius' account as evidence of the empire's moral and political decay. Gibbon famously described Justinian as a demon of tyranny in his Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, a view largely influenced by the secret history. In modern historiography, scholars have taken a more critical approach to the secret history, recognizing its biases and limitations while also acknowledging its importance as a historical source. Many modern historians view the work as a piece of political satire or as an example of ancient invective, rather than a straightforward account of events. This has led to a more balanced interpretation of Justinian's reign, in which both his achievements and his shortcomings are considered. Recent scholarship has also explored the literary and rhetorical aspects of the secret history, analyzing Procopius' use of classical tropes and his engagement with earlier historiographical traditions. Some scholars have argued that Procopius was drawing on the tradition of invective writing that was common in late antiquity, using exaggerated and scandalous language to critique those in power. In this view, the secret history is as much a literary work as it is a historical document, and its value lies in its ability to shed light on the cultural and intellectual currents of its time. Procopius' Secret History is a fascinating and complex work that offers a unique perspective on the reign of Justinian and the Byzantine court. Its portrayal of Justinian, Theodora, and other key figures is highly critical, often sensational, and deeply personal, revealing a side of Byzantine society that is absent from more official accounts. At the same time, the secret history raises important questions about the nature of historical writing and the role of the historian. While the secret history should not be taken at face value, it remains an essential source for understanding the political, social, and cultural dynamics of the Byzantine Empire during one of its most important periods. Its influence on later historiography is undeniable, and it continues to shape the way historians and readers alike think about Justinian and his legacy. By examining the work in the context of both its time and its subsequent reception, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of Procopius' writing and the enduring impact of his secret history on our understanding of Byzantine history.